How you doing, guys? Welcome to a new YouTube channel. My name's Andy, and as you can see, I'm sporting a bald head and quite a reasonably sized beard at the moment. These videos are to help people, men in particular, with beards, to learn how to shave their head safely and basically do it properly so that you don't look like an idiot. So before I switched the video on, the only step that I left out of the video was shaving the hair down as close as possible with a wee cordless trimmer, nothing fancy. One thing I will say in these videos is that I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to get you to press a link to buy something or whatever else. I don't have any sponsorships. All I'm doing is offering a bit of advice. I've been shaving my head for about 10-12 years now, and I can most definitely assure you I've gave myself some seriously bad cuts along the way, from rushing, being impatient and using substandard equipment. You'll not be able to see about there. Shaved my head about a week ago, and the blade that I was using, again nothing fancy, just your standard disposable razors. This protective gel across the top, sometimes if you look at it, you'll see that it actually isn't flush. Those are the razors that you should discard, because if you imagine a razor when it's going over the top of your head, you want it to be flush with the skin. If the gel part is damaged in any way or there's wee bumps in it, that's going to encourage, when it's going across your scalp, that's going to encourage the blade to dig in and basically cut into your scalp, and that in turn will take chunks out your head. Anyway, moving on. So, as I said, the only part I missed out of the video was clipping the hair down. Before you start shaving your head, it's always a good idea to make sure you've got all your materials to hand. So, I start running the hot tap, get my head heated up. That will allow the pores to open, and it should provide a more comfortable shave. So, standard throwaway razor, standard cheap shite shaving foam, which is actually quite a decent one. I don't buy into the £3.50 for a Gillette shaving foam, shaving cream, whatever. I think this was £1 and it absolutely does the exact same job. So always start with a fresh blade. I know these are throwaway, you can maybe use them 2 or 3 times. Don't get into the habit of using these for weeks on end, because they simply won't last, and the quality's not there to use these 6 and 7 times. So hot water under the head. This is similar to what a Turkish barber would do when they heat your head up in the shop. Hot water, help manipulate the hair. Now I'll point out now, got a couple of plasters on my shoulder. I had shoulder surgery a few days ago, and my flexibility is not going to be great for this video, but we'll see how we go on. So, after he says make sure he's got all his tools to hand, he's forgot a crucial item. Shaving brush. Get that into the hot water. I'm not going to tell you to suck eggs, you know how to get this out of the tube. Right, so I start off, lather up my head just using my hand. Right, and be gentle when you're doing this. see, at the end of the day, your head's a very delicate area of your body. The skin's extremely thin, so where possible you don't want to cut yourself, and the cut I gave myself about a week ago was agony to say the least, and I had job interviews lined up and I had to wear a hat for them, and it just looked stupid. So that's actually one of the reasons why I'm starting these videos, because I want to help people where possible. So rinse off the excess shaving foam. What I do is I catch the foam in the sink, fill the sink up with hot water, and that wee bit of residue in the water should help to keep the razor lubricated and running smooth. So another wee bit in the hand, brush is wet. You can do this with a bowl, you don't need a bowl, but you can if you want it. And basically what you're going to do is a tiny wee bit of water, shake it off and lather up your head. Now, the shorter the hair is on your head to start with, the better this will lather up. Again, don't rush this. Right, when you're doing this, don't let anybody annoy you. Make sure your kids are away to school, make sure your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, make sure they're away entertaining themselves so they can leave you alone to do this. This is not a 2-minute process. When you try and rush it, or when you're forced to hurry up, that's when you end up cutting yourself, and at the end of the day it's you that's walking about like a dick with a plaster in your head. So take just a couple of minutes to lather it up. You'll see it starting to get thicker as I keep going over it. Now, you don't need to be all day at it, but make sure that the whole point of this is to agitate the hair, to get the hairs standing up in preparation for getting shaved. It's not just a case of slapping it on the head and off we go. Right, and if you're all about limiting your amount of waste, keep this on the brush, you'll come back to it later on. Right, rinse off your hands. Have a towel to hand. Always start with a hot razor. Right, again, because my left side's slightly immobilised at the moment, but I would normally be pulling my skin up. Right, and don't worry about going over the same bit a couple of times. As long as you're doing it gently, it's not going to cause any unwanted friction. Keep rinsing the blade off. Right, and don't be concerned about this first pass getting absolutely everything. As long as you're making sure that you're taking hair off with each pass, you're always able to go back. Right, so obviously depending on whether you've got facial hair or not, depends on what you do with your beard and your sideburns. So what I do is pull my hair away from the side of my head, right, slowly round that bit of your ear, and then wipe some of the blow away so you can see what you're doing. Right, and I would normally take that away. Okay, so yeah, away again, round that wee bit. There's absolutely nothing worse when you haven't checked over your head properly. You go out and you've got 2 or 3 hairs sticking up here. There's at a family party years ago and the guy remained nameless, but he doesn't have alopecia, but he certainly looked as if he had it. Don't know how the hell his wife thought it was alright to let him out the house like that, but she did. So, on the next side, you can obviously hear that it's taking hair away. Keep rinsing your blade off. Again, take the foam away from your ear so you can see what you're doing. Okay. And again, just slowly get those wee couple of hairs from behind your ear. That's going to be the difference between looking smooth and clean and looking like a complete dick. Now, if you've been doing this a while, there's nothing to stop you quickly going back over it against the grain, as long as you make sure that the razor is lubricated. Keep rinsing it off. And a couple of wee tips. Don't get lazy and miss the first step I was talking about shaving it down with a clipper, because that is then giving the razor less work to do. Another wee tip, just to prevent any friction, is if you've got any beard oil or any sort of shaving oil that you can buy, you can put that on first. And if you are using a sort of mass produced product like these clippers, these blades, then it will add that wee bit of extra protection. So again, you're just listening for the hair coming off. And deliberately leaving that bit of foam above my eye to see how many people it was annoying in the comments. Keep rinsing it off. Now, this top bit, the sort of chrome part of your head, is quite a delicate area. There we go, if I can cut myself again. Sometimes when you've got wee cuts from before, if you're shaving your head every 2 or 3 days, those cuts haven't had time to heal. I can already tell it's nothing like the one I gave myself the other day. So, take this away for you. Now, what I do, because I'm going completely bald, I'm not shaving my eyebrows, all I'm doing is getting some of the baby hairs off my forehead, because they will stand out in the light, especially if you're going as close as this with a razor. So, on to the back, I need to move the camera. So when it gets to the back, always make sure you've got one of these other mirrors to hand, and just carry on where you left off. And if you have cut yourself, it's just a tiny nick I've gave myself, but if you do cut yourself, don't panic. Cuts on the head will always bleed more than just about anywhere else on your body. As I said, the skin's extremely thin, and that's where you emit heat, is through your head. So the blood's going to take a bit longer to clot. Sorry about this angle, I'm going to get a couple more mirrors so that I can make these videos a bit better, but I'll show you the end result. So, Staying away from that wee nick I gave myself. Now, because I've been doing this for years, I'm quite comfortable going against the grain because I know all the contours of my head. If you're just starting off, go down like that, follow the grain. Now, the more mirrors you can get your hands on when you're doing this, the better, because you obviously want to see it from all different angles if you don't have anybody helping you. And trust me, you only ask your girlfriend to help you once. She'll take a chunk out your head and then you'll never want her to help you again anyway, so if you're going to cut yourself, you're better doing it yourself. And then you've only got yourself to blame, you save any arguments. Okay, so last wee bit. Now, if you're a hairy bastard like me, you'll have neck hair. It's up to you what you do with that. The question is, where do you draw the line? Do you keep on shaving all the way down your back until you reach your arse, or do you just get it as neat as you can? Right, what I would suggest is get it low enough that the neck of your t-shirt will cover it. Okay, so that's the first pass done. Now, because I did give myself that wee nick a few days ago, I'm not going to bother going over it again. I don't need to. I feel as if that's close enough. Again, just use the hot water to feel for any bits that you've missed. Right, now to you, because it's your hand on your head, you're going to feel the slightest wee bit of friction. What I would say is, don't be obsessed with trying to get this as smooth as a bowling ball, because really with a disposable razor, that really is as close as you're going to get it. Okay. Now, I'll maybe do a separate video on blending in your sideburns. That's kind of a desired taste, whether you leave them square like that or you fade them in. Now, the key finishing point when you're doing your head is making sure you seal up the pores afterwards. So the one thing I'm going to show you, which was an absolute godsend and I've only just started using it, is, I forget the name of it, it's called Skin Tight. Again, I'm not going to advertise anything. It's called Skin Tight. You can get it on, I think there's a link to it in Amazon somewhere, and basically it's got tea tree oil, willow bark extract for men and women. It's specifically for razor bumps and ingrown hairs. I used to get ingrown hairs terribly when I was younger. That's why I started growing a beard as soon as I could, to try and eliminate them, because they can be really uncomfortable and a really sore looking on your face, especially in your neck. So, cold water all over my head, or for quickness, jump in a cold shower, seal the scalp back up, close all your pores. You can hear that. That's how smooth it is. That's as smooth as it's going to get with that type of razor. Take, excuse me, take a clean, dry towel and just tap the skin, tap your head dry. Make sure you get in round your ears. You can also turn it into a wee turban if you really want to. And just pat your head dry. Now, for those of you that have done this for a few months, a few years even, you'll be quite happy to put some sort of aftershave on your neck, on your head straight away. Others, if you're just starting this, I wouldn't recommend it. I would just use the cold water because it can be extremely stinging. Now, for some reason this skin tight stuff, it kind of crystallises on the lid, so just make sure if you're buying it that it's not cheap. This is about £15. If you're buying it, make sure that you rinse the top before you go putting that onto your head. So, dry hands, a couple of drops, and just massage it into the skin. Now, I'm not going to lie, that's a wee bit nippy, but it literally nips for about a second and then it stops. And it's a small price to pay if you're going to have a head free of razor bumps and ingrown hairs. I think, going by the name, it basically tightens the skin up and it makes it easier for the hair to grow back through the skin. So obviously when you're shaving your head, you're cutting the hair beneath the skin's surface. Right, and just take a minute or two just to massage that in. Rinse your hands. A wee bit of a kind of chemically smell off of that. I'm not too keen on, but again, as I said, I'm not selling the product to you. Right, just make sure you dry in between your ears. If you're not going to blend the sideburns in, what to do is just make sure that they're both level, which they're not. So what I'll do is I'll take that to about there. Follow your eyes across. And just go across the same. Make sure you get these wee ones at the side. Now I'll do a video separately on how to blend these in. To me that looks a bit stupid. You know, that's maybe like a number 2 on the side, straight to 0. I would probably fade like half an inch of that to a 1, into a 0, and then into actual bald skin. So, there you go. Head shaved. Yes, you'll have a couple of wee blotches and whatever else for the first 10 minutes or so, just till it cools down. What I usually do is, after I've shaved my head, I use that as my excuse to jump into my cold plunge, dip my head under, and that will really help to seal the pores up. As you can see, head's completely shaved. Okay, I'm also going to do some videos on beard care and beard trimming videos. I'm not a barber, I'm not a beardsmith or anything like that, but if you want to save some money, I do know some tips to help you along the way. Okay guys, thanks very much for watching the video, and on to the next one. Cheers.